Hello, everyone. It's Kieran here again with another workshop for you. Welcome to today's session on extending your answers for effective communication. As you can probably guess, this is all about taking your everyday responses from simple yes or no answers to rich, detailed explanations that captivate your audience, whether it is in, lecture debates, a job interview, or even a casual chat with your friends. So imagine transforming your short replies into something that shows your personality and depth. And that's the power that we're looking to unlock today. So by the end of this short session, you'll feel confident expanding your thoughts in any situation. So let's get started. Why not? So let's kick things off with why this matters. So practical communication skills are the foundation for success in education, in work, and also in your personal relationships. So think about it this way. In higher education, a well-supported answer can boost your grades. At work, it can land you that promotion that you've been looking for. And in relationships, it builds stronger connections by showing you truly care about sharing your perspective. So providing details and well-supported answers isn't just about talking more. It's about conveying your thoughts, ideas, and opinions in a clear, convincing way that leaves no room for doubt. So, for example, instead of saying social media is good, you could explain how it connects you with old friends across the world, and you can support it with a personal story. So, today we're looking to build those skills step by step so you're ready to shine. Excited? Great. Well, let's look at our goals next. So by the end of this lesson, you'll master extending your answers with appropriate details and examples. And here are the 4 key ways you'll do it. So first, you'll identify the key information and details needed to answer any questions effectively so you never miss the mark. Next, you'll use linking words and phrases to connect your ideas seamlessly, making your response flow like a professional speech. Third, you'll apply different strategies and techniques to naturally extend your answers, turning short thoughts into engaging narratives. And lastly, you'll put it all into practice in real contexts like class discussions, where you'll speak confidently for longer without filler words. Now, these are more than just skills, they are tools for life. So imagine getting a good grade on your next presentation or impressing in a work meeting. We're going to achieve this together, starting with a little roadmap that we've got here. So here's our agenda for today, clearly laid out to keep us on track. We'll begin with some quick practice answering questions to get your minds warmed up. Then we'll dive into identifying key information and details, which is the foundation of any great response. After that, we'll explore using linking words and phrases to make your answers smooth and connected. And finally, we'll cover some proven strategies to extend your answers, followed by a little bit of hands-on practice. So this structure ensures you not only learn the what, but also the how. And by the end, you'll be extending your answers like a pro. All right, well, let's start with step 1 then. So our first core skill is identifying key information and details. You can see here a little breakdown of 4 simple steps. Now let's walk through them with a real example. So, suppose we've got the question, which is what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of using social media? Now, your first step would be to find the key terms. So the key terms here are advantages and disadvantages and social media. So this keeps you focused if you can use that skill. Now, step 2 is brainstorming a list such as advantages, like staying connected, or disadvantages like the privacy risks. Now, step 3, organize those ideas into categories, maybe social benefits versus personal drawbacks. And step 4 is providing an example or some evidence. In this example, we'd say, I reconnected with a childhood friend on Facebook only last week. So see how this turns a vague answer into something more structured and more powerful. Well, I mean, practice this mentally right now. What key terms jump out at you for that question? Okay. So excellent. Next, we'll link these ideas together. So now that we've got the detail, how do I actually connect the details together? This is where linking words and phrases come in. They are the glue that connects our ideas for fluent professional responses. So on this slide, we have three categories, and they're all based on this question here, which is write an essay on the advantages and disadvantages of living in a city. So we're going to use some connecting ideas and sentences, and with these linking words, we can look at different functions that we're trying to use in order to expand on our answers. So if we're looking to contrast, that is to match a positive with a negative or the opposite way around, we can use on the one hand and later on the other hand. We can use things like however, although. So we could say, for example, on the one hand, living in a city offers cultural opportunities. On the other hand, it leads to overcrowding. If we're looking to compare, you can try using words like similarly or in comparison to. This gives us things like similarly, both cities and rural areas have unique pros and cons. If we are looking to describe the cause and effects of things, we can use words like because, consequently, therefore. We could say something like, because of the high costs, many people move to the suburbs. Consequently, traffic eases in the cities. Now, these aren't just words. These make your answers more logical and persuasive. Okay. All right. So let's build on this a little bit more with some extension strategies. Right, so are you ready to supercharge your responses? I hope so. So here are 5 powerful strategies to extend your answers. They're going to be elaboration, paraphrasing, illustration, comparison, and summarization. We're going to look at each one of them in turn, and we're going to have a look at them with some real examples. So these techniques are like little tools in a toolbox. You pick what fits the question. So, I mean, for example, if someone asks you about your hobbies, elaboration would add why you love it. And illustration would be you more sharing a story. So on the one hand, these strategies are simple to learn, but on the other hand, they require some practice, which is exactly what we're going to try to do. So as a result, your answers will double or even triple in length just naturally. Okay, so let's see them in action. Let's begin with elaboration. So your first strategy is, like we said, elaboration. And this is adding more detail through explanations, more information, or examples to flesh out your answer. So we've got this example here of what's your favorite book. Now, a short answer to this would be To Kill a Mockingbird. But elaborated, as you can see here, it says, my favorite book is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I read it for the first time when I was a teen, and it's been one of my favorites ever since. The reason I love it so much is because it tackles important issues such as racism, prejudice, and social inequality in a way that's thought-provoking. Okay. I often recommend it to others looking for a meaningful and impactful read. So see how it paints a picture. It doesn't just give an answer, but it expands, it leads you on a bit of a journey. So, for example, if you were going to give an answer like this, if somebody asked you about your favorite book, you could think about discussing why you enjoyed the book. I mean, not just giving the answer, but explaining why you enjoyed it. What themes or messages may be included in it, and are there any specific scenes or characters that stand out to you that are memorable, etc. Okay. Now, that was elaboration. Let's look at paraphrasing next. So, if you don't know this already, paraphrasing is restating your answer in different words to avoid repetition and to show some deep understanding. Okay. Um, so if you have a look at this example here, all right, so it tells us that during the weekend, I engage in a variety of activities, including spending time with family and friends, exploring the city, and trying out new restaurants. It was a fun and relaxing break from my usual routine, and I feel refreshed and ready to tackle the upcoming week. Okay? So notice how it echoes the same basic ideas, but it expands it with some fresh phrasing. Okay? This is what keeps listeners engaged without you actually repeating similar ideas. Okay? So this helps to add a little bit of variety and depth to your answer, and it also shows that you understand the idea. Okay? So just as we've got this little picture on the screen. Just as this illustration shows a vibrant weekend, your words can also help to bring your answer alive. So instead of just saying, I did some stuff, I hang out with friends, by developing your answer, you're creating a much more interesting idea. So let's move next on to illustration. So illustration is about using specific examples or anecdotes to bring your point to life. So we've got the example here of, would you rather live in a big city or a small town? Well, a normal answer would be, small town or big city. But illustrated would give you something like this. I live in a big city, but I much rather live in a small town. I remember spending a summer in a small town when I was 15 and enjoying the sense of community and belonging. I actually made lots of friends and appreciated the peace and quiet on the countryside, of the countryside. Okay. So you notice how it's much more personal and much more vivid. You can kind of feel it. You can sense the atmosphere just like that. Okay. So by giving a past experience, you are illustrating the point much more vividly and you're providing a lot more detail. Okay. So the image here captures that kind of cozy town feel. And because of this, your answer is going to stick in people's minds a lot more. And consequently, people will remember you and probably want to give you a good grade as well. Okay, so if you're still with me, thanks a lot. Great job in following along. Now, let's move on to comparison. So, strategy 4, comparison. This is comparing and contrasting ideas or concepts for added depth. Okay? So, for example, if someone asks you about the pros and cons of social media, you could compare some different platforms or different features, and this would help to provide a bit more detail. Okay? So let's consider that idea then. What are some of the advantages of social media? Well, you can see here, one of the main advantages of social media is its ability to connect people across different geographical and cultural boundaries. Some social networks allow us to keep in touch with friends and family who live far away and share updates about our lives, while others help us find online communities based on our hobbies and interests. Now, you see here we've got some of our linking phrases. One of the main advantages is, okay, some do this while others do this. Okay, so first of all, using linking phrases, very good point. But you will also see that by comparing the different platforms, it expands the idea naturally. Okay. All right. So some social network sites do this. That's more like a Facebook thing. But finding online communities based on your hobbies and interests, this is more like a Reddit kind of situation. Okay. So by doing this, by comparing these together, you're making your answer feel much more comprehensive. All right. So we next have one final strategy to look at. So I hope you're still with me. And this is the idea of summarization. So in essence, this is condensing your key points down to some single sentences, etc., which will help to clarify and reinforce what you've already said. Okay. So if somebody asks you what your favorite type of food is, you could say desserts. Again, but that's a bit too short. So you could say I have a sweet tooth and love cakes, biscuits, and pastries. From chocolate brownies to cheesecakes, tiramisu to ice cream, I enjoy trying out new flavors. So basically, my favorite type of food is definitely desserts. So what it does here, it wraps up neatly with a little bit of a punch, with a little bit of impact. So by adding that nice little sentence at the end, it leads us back to your original idea, and it makes your point much clearer. So now that we've looked at all 5 of those strategies, it is time to practice. Okay, I hope everybody's ready to do that. So there are 5 questions here. So we've got, what's your favorite sport? What's your favorite season? Do you like video games? Would you rather work in an office or online? And how do you like spending your holidays? Okay. So what I think is a good idea here is to take one of these ideas and to give your answer, but try to expand your answer by thinking about the strategies that we've looked at so far. So remember, elaboration, paraphrasing, illustration, comparison, and summarization. Okay. Remember to use some of those linking phrases as well, like for example, on the other hand, etc. Okay. So what I think is a good idea, maybe pause the video, take one of these ideas here and try to expand your answer so it reaches at least 30 seconds. Now it might be a bit difficult at first, but with a little bit of practice, you'll notice your answers getting longer and longer and longer. Okay. All right. So pause the video, try it out. And when you come back, I hope you've got some good news about how you've expanded your answers well. So, well done everybody for attending this session. And hopefully you are expanding your answers like experts. Okay. So what you've done here is you've nailed identifying the key ideas, linking our sentences together, and you've also practiced those strategies. Okay. All right. So hopefully these slides that we've looked at today, the skills that we've looked at, have helped you. And if it has helped you, maybe send it on to your colleagues. All right. But the important thing here is to just make sure you're practicing it regularly, practicing it even daily if you can. And you'll notice that your communication will soar in future. Okay. All right. So remember to click like, press subscribe, and I hope to see you all again soon.